Gracias and welcome to Vasily's Garden. Now you know how much I love my veggies and herbs. I love my flowers just as much. And with me I've got Jeff. Jeff, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Vasily.
I'm very well, very well. Thank you for having us here today. Now we've come to check out your garden here. Now this is a water garden you've been working on for a number of years.
Yes, we've been here. This is about 15 years old, Vasily. This was formerly a vegetable farm.
Yes.
So yes, there's a connection to food here. We were formerly, we used to grow Chinese cabbage, wongbok.
Okay.
So this farm grew wongbok for many, many years, but now it's been changed over to a water garden and we grow the beautiful water flowers, the lotus, the water lily and other flowers.
Oh, looking forward to it. Now how big's the site?
The site's about 20 acres. There's probably about 15 acres of garden, so it's quite expansive. It's a large garden.
Were you growing the wongbok before?
Yes, I grew the wongbok for 30-something years, Vasily.
30 years plus 20 years as a water garden.
Plus 15.
Plus 15?
Well, I was still operating the vegetable farm while we were developing this.
So you're pushing over 35 years here.
Yes, over 40 years.
Over 40 years, good on you.
Yes.
Wonderful work. And now this is just basically a passion of yours. Is that how it became the conversion?
It's a bit of a story to it. Originally, we were going to have fly fishing here for trout.
Okay.
This lake behind us was a large irrigation lake for the vegetables.
Yeah.
We put some trout in where we're going to have fly fishing.
Okay.
Of course, the cormorants came in and made short work of that. But I planted some lotus and water lilies just to make the lake look nicer.
Yeah.
And I watched how long they flower. And they have a long flowering season.
Yeah.
They flower for about 5 months. Very even flowering season. Yeah. And that's where the idea was born. Beautiful. We just stumbled across it.
Okay, and you haven't looked back since?
And it's grown and grown and grown, yes.
Of which we're going to have a look around and see some of the beautiful species you've got out here on display. And there are in season now with flowers, that is. So this is the best time of the year to see them?
Yes, the summertime. We're only open when the flowers are out. So, yes, from about Christmas time to early April is the flowering time.
That's a good period of time that you've got. Yeah.
Yes, it's over 100 days flowering you get with the lotus and water lilies.
Okay. How many species you carry at the moment?
That I'm not sure. You see, I'm a bit of a collector too, so
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's hundreds of varieties of both here.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a tour around. Sit back and enjoy the show. First one, here we are. Check these out, mate. Are they real?
Yes, that's a giant lily out of the Amazon river system, Vasily. Isn't that magnificent?
Oh, it is amazing.
It is a monster.
Oh, does it get much bigger? Or is that pretty much
that's about the maximum size. There's two types. There's a Cruziana, Victoria Cruziana, and there's the Amazon Victoria, which is slightly larger and doesn't have such a high rim.
Okay, we're in Victoria. This is from the Amazon. Our climate allows for this to grow. Is it just because you've got the glass house?
Well, you've heard about climate change, haven't you, Vasily?
Okay, so it's happened here now. All right, here we are, folks. Welcome to the Amazon. This, well, I've got a million questions. How old is this plant?
This is grown from seed each year.
Okay, and how fast does it grow to get
Look, it takes about 3 months to start to get to any size and then it takes off. It's very tricky to get it past the seedling stage.
Okay.
This is in heated water. This is about 27 degrees all the time. Once you get it to this size, it's quite easy to grow. It's the seedling stage, it's tricky.
Yeah. And would you sell these like that? I mean, I haven't got a pond big enough at home.
No. Look, we don't, Vasily, because
you can't even.
You've got to have the right conditions for them. Yes, it's purely for our own display there.
So, do you do any structural engineering? Have you had any experience in that at all? Because I was going to ask you, what's the live and dead load on this pad? So what's the weight?
Well, you've probably seen
I've seen a couple of giant frogs on that.
That leaf probably would support your weight, Vasily, but we would have to put a piece of plywood on there first.
Okay, so you could distribute the load.
So we could distribute it. You've probably seen pictures with people standing on these leaves, and that's how they do it. They cheat a little bit. They put a piece of plywood on it to distribute the weight.
So it doesn't sink into the one section there. Wow, and what about the feeding of these? Because, all right, somebody wants to grow one of these.
The feeding of them, now that's a good question. When they're young, you can very easily over-fertilise them.
Okay.
Like you can with a lot of water plants.
Okay.
When they're not growing active, they're starting off, you can easily over-fertilise water
So
plants.
what would the
They're in
pH
water.
be? Normally, what sort of pH?
The pH, they're not that fussy about the pH.
Okay.
The pH is about 7 in here.
That's okay.
That's not critical with them. But once they get going, they're very, very hungry beasts. I
Okay.
get in there with a bucket of fertiliser every
Yes.
second week, and I bury it in the... They're in large pots.
Okay.
They're just over a metre, the actual pot of soil that's
Yep.
in that pond.
Yep.
It's just quite a lot of it, and it's got rich river silt in it.
Yes.
And then I put in probably a pound or two of fertiliser every 2 weeks into that soil. It's
pound of
heavy fertilising.
They eat a lot.
Yes. they're
Wow.
hungry. And I've got to get out of there quick before you can see the spines.
Yeah.
And, before they grab me, they're monsters.
Wow. Okay. So you can lose yourself in this, literally.
And they grow incredibly quick. That leaf you see there, that
Yeah.
small unfolding leaf,
Yeah.
tomorrow if you come here, that will be twice that size.
So all those movies you see with these sort of giant plants and water lilies grabbing people and eating them, they're real, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They are.
I'm scared. I want to get out of here.
You've got to deal with crocodiles here.
Oh,
too.
look
There's
at
a-
that.
There's a crocodile.
I'd be worried, the crocodile should be worried about the water lily, the giant water lily. Then they've got a flower too, I see.
That's actually a
No?
night flowering lily. That is
Okay.
an old flower in the middle. If the camera can
Okay.
just pick that up.
That one
They flower at night, so they
Okay.
come out at night. They're still out in the morning.
Okay.
Big double chrysanthemum-like flower
Yep.
with a beautiful pineapple perfume.
Okay, and that's to attract the
And
pollinators.
it attracts beetles go in and pollinate.
Okay.
Yes, and we collect the seed here, because
Yeah.
I'm reliant on that seed for next
I
season.
can see that's a seed. No, that's another
That's
pad.
that's a new that's a new
new
flower
leaf.
coming up.
Okay, and behind that is another.
That's another pad, and there's some old seed pods that have dropped down
Hung
into
inside.
the water. Yeah,
Wow. Okay, first spot here, folks. I'm already amazed.
striking. And one other thing, at the back there, you see some of those water lilies.
Yeah.
They're native Australian water lilies from northern Australia.
Okay, what do you got? Cabbage growing in there too, or something?
There's a bit of cabbage that I use for the nursery,
Yeah.
but they're not very well known by Australians. We've
Okay.
got some beautiful water
you
lilies
go.
up north.
I told you there was
Beautiful
climate
water
change
lilies.
going on here, folks. Are you breeding crocodiles too?
Well, Vasily, now I want you to be careful here. This is what we've dubbed the crocodile plant. This is a giant lily, another giant lily that comes from Asia. As you can see, the leaf looks something
Can
like
I touch this?
I'd like you to, but just slowly. Just
Yeah, I'm not
slowly.
going to.
No, just slowly.
Why? Now you're scaring me, mate.
No.
Wow. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Just be-
Oh, now I know why. Just be careful because there are spines along the veins. Oh, that's just.
Yeah, they're nasty spines.
They are.
Aren't they?
That's worse than the wild eggplant that we grow. Now I'm relating it back to an edible plant. Can you eat? Actually,
Yes, look, the Indian people are very familiar with this. This has a little purple flower. That's not one there.
No.
That's an Australian native. It has a
Okay.
little purple flower. Sets a massive seed.
Yeah.
The Indian people use the seed. They
Yeah.
call it the gorgon nut, or they make flour and
Okay.
other things in their diet.
Yeah.
Extensive areas of this are grown in India.
All right. So that's its origin.
Yes, India, right through Asia, it's
Okay.
grown.
Okay.
Yes, it's grown for food, surprisingly. For the
Nice.
seed.
And the lifespan of this plant?
This is a annual again. We grow it from seed each year. Look, both this lily and the other one are sometimes perennial in their natural habitat, but here with the colder winters, I've found it's easier just to grow
let
it
it go
again each year.
Each year from seed. Oh, good stuff.
This one will grow outside here in Victoria quite well. This will grow temperatures 15 degrees and above, so it doesn't need the heat like the other giant lily.
Yeah. It's amazing. And you don't have anybody sitting on this one, do you? Not often.
No, but you're welcome, Vasily. It would
Thank you.
make, it would make
I'll
good
just take my
viewing.
boots off, folks, and take a bit of a walk along water here. going now?
This is the Winch House. This is a collection of exotic tropical water lilies. These were bred by a Sydney man called Charles Winch, a man that's very well known overseas in the water lily world. He bred about 600 tropical water lilies in his lifetime.
All right. Well, you just said overseas, the water lily world. We're not known for our water plants here in Australia?
Water gardening's not very big here in Australia. It's really in its infancy.
Okay.
Overseas in America, there'd be 50, 70 just exclusive water nurseries in America.
Oh, okay.
We're probably,
there's
only a handful here in Australia to give you some idea. His breeding is well recognised overseas. His collection of water lilies is displayed in some of the botanic gardens around the world.
Okay.
Because it is so valued, the breeding he did.
That he did. Okay. And what have you got here now? So you've got some of
I've
the
got
more
about
exotic?
50 of the best of his breeding, thanks to one of his daughters.
Okay.
That provided us with the plants because she knew we were going to put it on display for her father's legacy for her father.
And the colours are
the colours. Look, they're all colours of the rainbow, the tropical water lilies. And as you can see, they're very vibrant colours. These are still a bit small. They probably get about twice this size.
The flowers?
The flowers do by the end of the summer, yes.
Wow.
They're spectacular. They're only just starting to take off now.
How do you hybrid one of these?
How do you hybridise them?
Yeah, hybridise them.
You do it by hand with the pollen. Breeding in the water garden industry is done by hobbyists.
Okay.
Because it's very time consuming.
Yes.
And then you might get 1,000 seeds, you get 1,000 seedlings, and there might only be one that's any good. So you've got to grow 1,000 on. And very time consuming. Yeah, so it's mainly done by hobbyists around the world.
Okay.
The breeding of water plants.
And what's your favourite one here?
Oh, my favourite's probably that one up there, which is Dean Edwards, a very dark purple.
That is dark. That is really dark.
That is probably the darkest purple water lily in existence.
All right, so where to from here?
Well, Vasily, now I'm going to show you something special.
Okay.
This is the ancient ogre lotus. So come across
I know nothing about it. I'm going to learn everything I need to know now.
Well, here we are, Vasily. Now the story behind this lotus, there was some seed dug in an archaeological dig in Japan in 1951 or something. Yeah. They dug up 3 seeds out of a peat bog and they tested one of the seeds, carbon dated it or whatever, and they found it to be about 2,000 years old.
A seed 2,000 years old in peat, basically.
In peat. Now the lotus seed...
And it never germinated?
They hadn't germinated. The lotus is a very ancient plant, been on Earth a long time, one of the original flowering plants. The seed is about the size of your fingernail, but it has a hard wooden husk that protects it. So it has a long, long viability. One of those 3 seeds germinated.
And this is what's happened.
And this is the result. We got some seed in from Japan, from what they grow in Japan. It's very famous in Japan, the ogre lotus, because that's a very old species of lotus.
So ogre, what's the meaning of ogre?
The ogre's not, there's not an ogre under the bridge.
I was going to say, is it an ugly plant? No. And it's quite wet down here too, folks. So it's in water also. So ogre's
the name of the scientist, Dr. Ogre, the Japanese scientist who found the seed.
And got it to germinate. And this is beautiful. The one colour flower, I see a pale pink.
It's just a single pink.
Yep.
It's similar to some of the other varieties that we have, but it's very, very old.
It is. Old meaning about 2,000 years.
It's at least 2,000 years old.
Fantastic. There you go.
There we go.
Make me feel really young.
The Asian people, Indian people, they'll put rice and chicken in that, fold it up and steam it.
No, we're talking. I'm hungry. So this is used as a steamer?
This is used as a steamer. The seed is eaten, the root is eaten.